I'll start my own review of this game.
There it is, Gelato.
Okay.
So, guys, if you want the link, I'll put it in the stream chat. And yeah, they can see the screen anyway, so it's fine. We just can't see your cursor, but I'm sure that's okay.
Yeah, no worries. Because I'll go through all the So here, cross opening again. I'm assuming you're doing territory lover, or they're using it against you, because this is the second time in a row now I think we've reviewed a cross Fuseki game.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first move I think that would be interesting would be L4. This is kind of like a product of a bygone age, this type of side extending move. Typically, we would see K4 is the standard extension from the corner, leaving only 5 spaces. This is predominantly because when white tries to come in, there's not a comfortable room to make a 2-space base without getting this sort of double hane. And so this is typically considered to be not very good for white. When we play tighter like this, we can imagine now it's not so difficult for white to make the 2-space base. And actually attacking the white shape, it's white's a little bit more comfortable in a position like this. So typically these days, more common moves would be playing something a little bit more corner focused, like A or B, sort of taking profit up front for black and creating a more stable position out of the opening. And this is sort of favorable to cross Fuseki anyway, right? Developing the sides tends to be a little bit difficult in the cross Fuseki games. So if we get something like this, for example, it'll be easier for black to sort of play in a more territorial fashion and break the board up a little bit easier. By the way, if your viewer has any questions, please feel free to relay them.
Oh yeah, he did write "little speak English," so
no worries.
So let me ask you a question: if Q3 is a really good move for black, does that mean that R6 was a bad move for white? Like, does black get the better result out of this?
Not necessarily.
It's just a game of Go, right? It's just the.
Yeah, it's just kind of normal, right? These are just what we consider to be more of the sort of mainline standard ideas for positions like this.
Gotcha.
I think even before I think even before AI, moves like F3 were becoming more prevalent than moves like K4 anyway. Just because it kind of gives more upfront to black. And then if white happened to invade, black could get influence and do something with the side L4 after. And then when black gets L4 and, like, let's say a situation like this, it's a little bit easier on the bottom side now when you've reinforced at 1. There are invasions still, of course, but the position is relatively closed for black. But okay, so we get this one. This is not going to be detrimental, I think, but it is a bit maybe slack in the opening. Whoa, I've never seen it.
I felt the same way.
So let's try to think maybe what is the meaning of this move. First, the first thing that I consider is, like, what is black really trying to go for? It seems to me he wants to hane above, right? So initial impression would be extend. Something like this and just break the shape. This is, I don't think this can be a bad exchange for white, in the sense that the bottom side is very open, 6 spaces, so you already have an easier time going in there, in general, than if we compare to the placement of L4 at, say, K4 or something. And we're not offering any help to black, right? If we play a move like hane, like either here or here, which are sometimes stronger moves, even if black just, like, answer, right? Then all of a sudden we're the one left over with a weakness. But where's black's weakness?
The black's stronger.
Now, like, imagine like we connect, right? And let's make some bad exchanges just to illustrate the point. Imagine something like this, right? Who's comfortable, black or white?
In this case, black.
Right. So I think more realistically, if this happened and white connected, black may just turn directly or enclose. But in this type of case, what's the benefit to white to drive out like this?
I mean, he's making some influence, but black is there, so it'd be hard to make points for both players.
Right. Well, black is getting points on the left with every push.
Hmm.
And white's going to have to prove the wall, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if we just extend, now it's kind of like balls on black's court, right? We're not helping black make his base, and we're also not building a wall that's sort of got this inherent like low value because of black's bottom side. Right? Like if black just ignores this and plays to enclose the bottom now, right? Then white can just pincer, and it's easy on the left side. This is like one example of the way you can play. Or you could even maybe do something like this and go even further. And if black like does something like this Hane Tiger's Mouth idea, you can fix your shape, and when he defends, then you've got something on the side of the board you can attack when black's defending, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna
And this way
Oh, go ahead. Finish that, but yeah, somebody is asking something in the chat.
Yeah. And this way you can also keep access to the corner. So things to think about, right? When you're thinking. But also here you have to deal with the crosscut. Which is another annoying thing that black can try to do to settle quickly. So is it too thin if white plays d7 instead of d6?
Oh, you can see the chat? That's awesome. Okay. I don't have to interrupt you anymore.
I'm assuming when they say d when they're saying this one. Yeah, it's just the fact that if black answers solid, there's a weakness left over, and if black cuts, then white has to deal with it immediately. If like if white extends and plays Atari, like this is a playable opening. Like white can do this, but black is getting many benefits toward the bottom side, right? Originally, black had an inherent weakness in this area because white could invade easily and make a comfortable base. But after black builds this way, that's not necessarily the case anymore. If white comes in, white's under attack, and it's not so comfortable. White is completely surrounded.
When there's a silence, I have to check my internet.
He said, "No, you're good." He said, "Thanks." Yeah. I was just waiting to see if we got a reply in the chat. That's all.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to move on.
I got you.
Oh, this one again. I haven't seen it. Generally, I would recommend not letting the corner position to get broken like this. While it's true, like black can sort of take the outside this way. What's going to be more valuable, outside or the inside position here for black?
When we look, white's making definite profit, and black has to prove it. And with d16, it might not be as much as it looks like.
Right. Like even if black is playing something like this and jumping, right? It's not necessarily going to be like this whole area is guaranteed for black. And even if this was guaranteed, black had to pay a lot for it already. You would have to take out what black spent in the corner, which is this, right? Because originally this was black's area, and now it's white's. So there was a big loss in the corner to pay for this move. Right? And white's not just going to play passive like this and allow black to have everything. This is never going to happen. So I think here it's important you fix the big weakness and develop the important side. And this you didn't cut through.
No. I didn't, you can ask me why.
Yeah. And I just should be automatic, right? When you have cross-cut situation, you defend one side, your opponent defends one side, you go after the other or defend the other, right?
Yeah.
So you're either defending A or you're attacking B. And when your opponent's got a shape weakness, which is in this case the one space jump that can be pressed through, you're in the perfect point to do it, you attack them first.
Yeah, instead I played down. But it is clear that now that the cut is nice because black's not truly gaining a lot on the side just yet.
Right, and if black ever gets to come back and, like, let's say fix, like, the position's already better for black. Even if black just goes here, it's better than the other variation.
I see.
Right, like, you can imagine, like, you play the whole thing, right? In this position, yeah, white gets a corner, but it's a significantly smaller corner, and black is fixing the whole shape on the bottom. There's an attack on the left side group for sure, but it's not severe enough to say black is going to die. So it just seems like you go this way, it's going to be worth a little bit less than a little bit less than the other method for you.
Yeah, it's clearly better. Funny, this same shape comes up in the next game too.
Yeah, here I think this result is very good for black. Black's L4 was not punished, so now the stone is perfect. It's shining, right? Black is becoming thick, and then having the stone further away from thickness is paying off. So you've improved the position of his A stone. You've damaged development D16, and you've managed to take the corner, but the corner is small in retrospect, and it's completely sealed in. So I think in this this case we can see that this result is good for black.
Now,
if you have,
excuse me, I thought E7 was like a big mistake. So I thought it was the opposite, but that's why you're here to teach me otherwise.
Regardless of whether he plays that or he goes here, right? How are you planning to capitalize from this? The Hane, he can just extend. That's fine, right? He can push, he can jump. Here, 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 connect, here, here. And then I'm not really sure what the plan is from this point.
Fair enough.
Right? You'll get a little bit of extra profit, but you had a chance to punish much, much better.
Right.
Like when you compare to this, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's bad in the comparison.
Makes sense.
He ignored you. This is good. This is fine for black, actually. And L4 is still in a good position if he treats the groups independent of each other. So even if he loses the territory to Atari, oops, he can give this up comfortably and just take the corner, this or this. So I think this Tanuki is making sense. I like this move. Okay. I think white had a better move.
I wouldn't know. I can't tell.
For a second. Think for a second. I mean, backing off is normal, right?
Yeah, yeah. But I don't...
What would make a move? What would make a move better than the standard back off?
I mean, I'll be honest. My options running through my head is to kick, attach on top, pincer, and I don't like any of those.
Yeah, widen your vision.
Okay. What a lot? Either a large knight or to Tanuki. That's right. My larger vision. Okay.
What if you go here?
Well, funny enough, and this is where I can gladly take your help. I usually don't like playing between two blackstones, right? Even if it is a wide pincer. Sometimes I do play it, but usually I don't generally enjoy playing between a pincer.
What makes you... This isn't a pincer, first of all.
Yeah.
This stone is a pincer is only within 3 spaces. These are your these are your pincers against this stone. Anything farther than this, and there's little to no pressure on one. But think about it, right? Go is very heuristic. If black ignores, you can extend.
I see. I wasn't thinking about the ladder breaker.
There's a ladder. So if he's forced to capture, now you pincer, and he's the one playing between yours, not his.
Yeah. I totally missed this ladder breaker. That's a cool move. It's a nice combo.
Yeah, so with A for B, this is a very common sort of like tempo gaining idea. And you can see this a lot. Let's just make a mock example really quick. In this position where you've got sort of star point approaching star point, very often when black plays double approach like this, white's going to choose the attachment based on that ladder. On this case, the ladder is going to go to 3 from here. What ladder? This one.
And then, yeah.
Right? And if you notice, like, compared to game variation, you essentially ended up with the exact same ladder.
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't even consider that. That's cool.
Right? So when this ladder is here, this is an approach that you always like to look at if it's Sente against the ladder. So in this case, I think instead of just answering blindly, you can play an even stronger move, because this is not just a simple approach, it's an approach with a Sente. It's very hard to ever say approach moves these days are Sente on their own inherently, but this one is because the ladder.
Gotcha.
If black can't capture the b7 stone and allowed white e2, the position in the bottom left is going to be much better for white.
So one of my questions now is: should black just take the ladder right now? Then take the stone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Black should capture, and then white will pincer usually.
Gotcha.
Or white might choose to go in, or white might choose to back off from that point. But okay, so you back off. That's fine. It's just giving black a chance to sort of get ahead of the game. Black can actually eliminate that threat right now if black just captures. So even though this looks a little slow, this is perfectly playable. Black can do it a little more efficiently with 1. And then if white plays this one, then black can take. And if white pushes, black can push, get the extension, and then negate the wall, right? Or maybe even play this and sort of aim to slap a stone a day and see what you'll do.
In the chat, yeah, I don't know if you caught it. They're asking about black countering with 016. So if white takes the approach,
then black is going to commit to a lot, like another complication like this, and he's always going to have to pay attention to that ladder. So white's just going to always play for the outside.
I hate that itch. That's like an itch in my brain when I have like unresolved things.
Yeah. Yeah, and black is just making himself busier. Because black wants to follow up his approach, black wants to capture the ladder, and now black also wants to develop a corner. What happens if you try to develop too many things at the same time?
It usually becomes wishy-washy. You don't get everything.
Right.
Or
if you have one worker, if you have to spend one worker in a warehouse to do 3 different jobs at 3 different places in the warehouse, and you need them all done around the same time, is it going to be feasible? The answer is no. It's just black is becoming black is just sort of stretching too thin, becoming very busy, as we say. And so it just doesn't make sense. When white does this, you fix one problem. Now, like this is 1 for 1 in the corner. Black q16 will be fine. The white's follow-up against the corner with double approach is not severe. Black can simply answer the next biggest threat, which is against f17, right? And so black can focus on 1 at a time here. Something like this, and maybe if he takes points and white double approaches, he can just settle. Something like this. And this would be perfectly fine for black, I think. Like, there's no reason why black can't play this way. This is all relatively normal. But black will be very happy he only has to spend 1 move here, instead of having to spend many moves over the board, attempting to find a good way to resolve the problem. You can just resolve the problem. Right. Like this indirect defense, the biggest thing that you want to think about is it going to net me a tempo? If this doesn't actually gain black a tempo, like if he has to go back and capture anyway, then you have to ask yourself if 2 is the most ideal exchange you can make in this corner. Building an influence that goes down the right side is a little bit weird to me when white is already here. Right?
Yep.
So, moving on, unless there's more questions. Oh, aggressive. Okay. Okay, this is a move, but I think still black should be considering this one first. While this is an attack against white, white can simply defend, and then black is... I'm curious as to what the follow-up will be. It's going to be this, right? In which case, what was the better direction, A or B, for black to take?
B, because white can't make a lot of points on the side.
Right. So on the left side is not so interesting. Then black wants this follow-up. So black can enclose, and then if white wants to take that away, let him. This would be much better for black, direction-wise.
Yeah. Just as a big move thought, too. It looks so small, right? There's bigger things to do.
Right, correct. And then anything that white does against this on the top is likely going to be sente, right? If we get something like this is painful, isn't
it? I don't know if you're reading the chat, but somebody's saying you don't have to wait for responses.
Gotcha. Yeah, so here, like, white can just cover black also. And so this will never be anything big. So I think giving up this A for B is probably losing some point for black. It's not really like a gaining exchange, whereas B is kind of like a mutual base point, and the top was more interesting anyway. So I think getting to the B direction would have been much more powerful for black. Something like this, maybe, or just enclose the top. So I think white comes out a little bit better here, and then black plays this extension at this timing. So it's what, 24 points if black turns on the bottom? 24 points in Gote. What do we think? Should black answer once?
We talk about black's move. Like, should black have played f3? Is that what you're saying? Asking?
Yeah. And should white play f2?
Well, I do. If that in the one of the reasons, I mean, is that good? Because in my thinking, I never like allowing my opponent to seal me in with one move, right? So if I play f2, then it feels like I'm getting sente.
Right. f2 is a big move here.
Yeah.
The turn is 24 points.
Mm.
So forcing something like this is already a sizable reduction.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's 15, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you can imagine, like when you can imagine nerfing potentially 9 points in one push, yeah, take it. But now you can Tanuki. You can also cut.
Yeah.
This Hane is a bit of an overplay.
Yeah.
Especially when this group has Dame Zamari, which means Liberty Shortage. What I mean by that is if at any point white extends the D7 stone or gets the ability to extend the D7 stone and gains more liberties, the cut at E4 is going to put put black in a position where black has only 2 liberties left with the mark stones. They're not very strong to support E3. So in this situation, rather than try to start a fight here, just extend or jump would be the safer option. Cutting is a very powerful move. Good answer. You recognize that this would become very small for black now, like an extend. Okay, so he slides. This is big, but not sente. Oh, this one. Side-friendly move again. Yeah, what am I going to say about this move?
I know you don't like it. One thing that I think is funny, though, is I didn't even notice this breaks the ladder, by the way. It just wasn't even in my mind. But as for the side-friendly move, I remember you say that it's not like passing, but kind of like passing, right? Like,
yeah. What is it doing?
Well, for me, I was hoping it was putting pressure on f17 and trying to build something.
Then how is it doing that better than this?
That looks better.
Because this is pressure, right? This is pressure in its purest, rawest form. This is also possibly pressuring, but this would be the standard way to attack one stone. You play one space away from it. How does this do that job better? What is the extra benefit you're looking for by playing further away and being reserved?
I guess I'm not. I mean, yeah.
What I see with this is I'm going to get to attack A in a more severe way by threatening B in a light way. But if A is going to be attacked more severe, guess what black's going to do next? He's just going to defend A. Now, if you play 2, is the stone at A making sense?
No.
Does the stone here make sense?
No, redundant.
Maybe, but black has an easy way out, right? And then I wonder about the placement of the K16 stone. So very often when I see moves like this in my own games, I think, okay, if I make that stone bad, I'm just ahead in the exchange. And then strategically, I play around K16. I just don't let it become useful. Like even he could just go here. And what's the follow-up if he plays this one? He's putting pressure on A. And B is still perfectly fine, right? This is sort of supported across the board by the influence. A little bit, not so much because of the ladder, right? We're ignoring the fact that black is in trouble here a little bit. But if we assume that the ladder is not a problem, and black has captured E8 already, right? Then, because you didn't recognize there was a ladder breaker, so we have to assume it doesn't exist for purpose of asking.
Yeah.
What's the follow-up if he does this?
I mean, for me, I would have played K17 and, pressure him and let him come out and build strength, but the way you're asking makes it sound like that's not a good follow-up.
I just think it's hard, right?
Yeah.
So, in this case, I think this move is relatively close to passing.
Gotcha. So what do you instead of K16, what do you think a better strategy would be?
pincer it.
Just take it right now? No.
Or go in the corner,
Okay.
or double approach the stone, or extend the ladder that you broke.
Gotcha.
You know, something that's actually doing something.
Yeah. Would you say taking that ladder out would be the best? It looks really good to me. I would be happy if I saw that.
Yeah, I think it's an advantageous position for you.
Yeah.
You've already locked up the corner, so there's no risk to your corner. The next possible group that could come under attack for you really is this. And that's far enough removed from the fight that the fight is likely going to be going this way, not this way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if the natural hengma for the fight, the natural moving direction is going to be like this, then, you know, sure, black will build some influence this way, maybe to then aim here.
Mm-hmm.
But the white stones themselves are not at risk of death, even if black adds a move, right? Because you have the Mi'ai.
Mm-hmm.
So even if black builds strength, you're not going to die there. But because you're strong in the corner, black has real threats against this left side.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be aware of, and he's got to protect, right? So I think this would be probably the most active line of play that you could do. You might consider probing with like fifth line shoulder or knight's move or extension first.
Mm-hmm.
Or because like if you can get this and then break like this first, and something here and then come out, and like let's say he continues fighting and then you break, there's a whole initiative here for white that could just end this game now. Black is not that strong here. Black can get in like M17 or something like that. Get in there when white plays here? Sure. This is always a risk when you make this shape. This invasion always exists. Part of white's plan for this shape is to handle it with something like this, either by cutting or by Atari and take the outside, right? Or if black extends, then white might consider to block or connect. So white is not caring about this box. Usually white is caring about this box. And then the stone in the center should be meaningful in this direction and this direction and this direction. And if it's not meaningful or having an impact in these three areas that's significant, then the stone is a bit of a waste. You pay a lot up front to play a stone like this, hoping that its investment's going to be useful in those areas later, and if it's not, then it's just bad. But okay, so he attaches. This is another interesting move. He's trying to be aggressive. I think white can Hane below or above and would be fine. Okay. Oh, this one. I was thinking he would just extend. Normally we extend here. Because if white plays this, then you can simply expand and you don't have to make the helping exchange A for B. There are times when playing that is going to be meaningful, but in general, if you Atari the cutting stone, you have to fix the weakness after, right? Mm-hmm. So when that happens, is A for B a good exchange? Well, if white's not getting put in bad shape, then no, it's not. If somehow playing at B would make an empty triangle, then that would be a different story, right? Like if we have a cutting position like this, then white going here, black here, white here is making sense. Cutting the position, right? Or if there's a cutting position where playing Atari is going to force the opponent to have some empty triangle shape, then it's making sense. But it's not going to be the case here, and actually black just ended up having to spend this move anyway, right? Mm-hmm. So I think here the better form for black would be just Nobi, and if white wants to capture, continue moving in the appropriate direction. Don't give up the exchange, because the move that black needs in the future is C, not really A or B, right? C is the one that's going to break the eye. Yeah, so this small exchange, okay. You like this move more than just capture directly, or the net?
I was talking about it in the stream. I was trying to see if I could find any way to be more efficient. Sometimes, like I said, I like just taking the itch out of my brain and capture it, you know. But yeah.
If you want to be more efficient, then you have to try to do something more, right? If you can capture something like this, then it'll probably be better for you. Because if black defends, then you've got the push as a sente, push, block, and then clamp as Yosei, right?
Yeah, that's nice.
I mean, granted, black shouldn't Hane 4, black should just cut directly, but even if it's being like this, like white is still doing okay here. Even if black does come out, if white can live in the corner, then white can consider playing that way. Probably on this board I wouldn't, though, because having to live in the corner is painful. Or you could do something like this and lean on the position. And then try to turn and play more active, right?
Gotcha. Yeah, that's what
this
Semi's saying.
Yeah, this one, I think the problem is... the problem with this one, I think, is that this black push is going to kind of almost always be sente here, which is where the turn comes in. This is not sente anymore. Or you also give him the option to play this one. And this can be very annoying also, right? So...
Can white break through that nose or no? I'm just generally curious.
You could, but you're going to give up a lot more forcing moves.
Gotcha. Yeah. Because I saw the ladder didn't work, but yeah, you give up forcing moves. I get it.
But then later in the game, it might end up working, right? Like, he might play here, and if you have to jump to fix it, then 1 for 2 is a good exchange, right?
Yeah.
Like, imagine something like this. Right, black can be happy on the right side here. So just be careful with the shape. The shape should always be based on what it is you're trying to do in the local position. What follow-up do you want to allow versus disallow?
Yeah, I did put some thought into it. I think my idea was that I wanted to just keep moving a little bit close to the left so he couldn't make a big moyo on the left.
I think it's already impossible for him to do that. This is going to be sente at any point. This is going to be sente at any point. The minute you get 1 and 3, this is almost already alive.
Okay.
Like, he can't counterattack it.
Yeah.
That's a problem, right? So, because he's never going to have the liberties to push and cut you. He's just going to die. So, he has to extend and then extend again or jump to connect out. And then from that point, you escape. And then 1, 3, and 5 are light, and you get the reducing move at 7. And the whole area effectively gets flattened to this. There's no moyo there at all. Like, none.
I see.
So you don't have to worry so much because you've already got the resource, this exchange. Okay, black backed off. This is fine. Black could also push once.
Take this
and go here. This is a little bit stronger shape. It does fix white a little bit. Now the Aji at Q6 is almost entirely gone, minus the endgame at P4. But as long as like white's not going to be playing this in any successful way, I think that this is probably going to be fine. Like, black's not really allowing anything inside the position that white couldn't try already anyway. It's just better than this position usually, because if white can force like this exchange, then this is often good for white. Later, white can cover from here or from here. Yeah. And if black plays the Hane, then white can just sort of slip behind. There's no threat in the shape here anymore.
I do love the $1,000 turn.
Yeah, very big. Okay, so he can play this move, but this one has a weakness at 1. Right? So, like, in the future, you can Hane, cut, connect, and he's going to have to answer either inside like this, or he's going to try to answer like this, and then that's going to leave even more Achi open, something like this, or like this. So, there's a lot of risk here. Also, you have this move, and then Hane, which is good for the center as well. So this is normally why black goes here, because then when white pushes, black can resist. So this would be the most common shape. Slide is big. Okay. I'm trying to fix 017 K16 bad relationship. I don't hate it. I think at this point black can break and probably should break either there or here. I don't think black should answer this. Capturing that stone is very big. That's also true. White doesn't necessarily have to mind it because white has moves like this or like this in the position to reduce later. And then you choose this one. So what was the plan with this move?
Well, I think it's clear what I was trying to do, which was essentially to put more of a pressure on this black stone and take the area.
Are you trying to take the area that the black stone is residing in? Because then this move is saying, I'm going to kill you. Is that true?
That was my plan.
Yeah, so this is not attack for profit idea, right?
No, this is attack to attack.
To murder, right? But are you
Yeah,
strong enough to kill? I doubt it. Somehow I suspect that if it goes like this, I'm going to live.
I think I make this mistake a lot, thinking that I'm strong enough, but then, if I'm facing somebody stronger than me, then they'll find a way out.
Yeah. Like, how do you kill me in this shape?
This is definitely one problem I have, along with my connection. Sometimes I
Right.
don't
It's
see.
just look at your shapes. What do we have shapes? Baduk Gema. Gema. Nikan Tobi. Nikan Tobi. Ikan Tobi. What's the one thing all those shapes have in common?
Then they're not fully connected yet.
Yeah, they all have cutting points.
Yeah.
How are you gonna kill something with that many holes? Let's cheese go.
Yeah.
Frank can go looking over here. Right? Even if Black just invaded this, it would be enough. If this is already alive, then this is good enough for Black. Right? How much of the territory did you lose?
Yeah.
If you play something like this and you lose the corner, that's huge. Can't do that, right? So if you live in the corner and then I get to Hane and connect and force you to defend, if you defend this way, I have a clamp. If you defend this way, I have a cut. And then all of a sudden, yeah, you killed the stone. This is all you have to show for it.
Super over concentrated, yeah.
This is a good lesson for Q players that are watching in the chat, right? Most Don players, I think, will, at least around like 3-4 Don, will have this sort of inherently from having played against this sort of topside extension enough, especially if they played, circa 10 plus years ago. But for those that see these sort of wide, like 017 to K16 jumps, like oftentimes this reduction is enough to reduce the whole topside. Like you don't have to be rushed to save every stone, right? You can offer the stone that white wants to white, but offer it to white at a huge markup. Sell it to him more expensive so you make more of a profit. So it seems to me here you'd have a better time if you just attack this way.
Securing more profit and putting more severe of an attack, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because you'll get more points on the top side if you can kill his invader now, right? Because if this is just dead, then you're just gonna get more points here. And then if this is running, then you have something to chase, right? So, and then on top of that, he's got the problem that A is still able to run, right? There's still some Aji with B. So they can all sort of flow into each other from this point. And it's going to be... it's going to be... How to English? It's just going to be like good form, good flow for you for the rest of the game, right?
Yeah, I can see that this is far better. Plus the G16, because it's high, it seems more center focused, which white can't really make much in the center.
I like this last comment from Aaron.
Yeah.
Holy cow, I hadn't considered how cheese-centric my play was. Yeah, right. So, the reason why Don players don't really fear these types of positions on the top side and why they're so comfortable to invade is not necessarily because we know how to live, like, inherently. Like we immediately know what the living situation is going to be. It's just we can recognize the number of weaknesses our opponents have, and we know inherently with that many weaknesses, it's hard to hold it. A cup with many holes holding water, it cannot, right? So there's going to be a leak somewhere. You just have to target those points, and then that's like strategically the way you go about it. So the strategic implication is that Black is playing against the A stone at a high level. If we make A bad, then the position is just bad. But on the tactical sense, when white is committing to killing something, this move is already making... First of all, this move already makes this move worse. Because the relationship that it has is a very thin relationship. A double Nikan Tobi is a very easy to cut shape. And oftentimes, when you have a stone on the diagonal here against Nikan Tobi, that's already sort of the preferred method to deal with it. If we take a look at an example here, this 2-space high, and we have white approach it, this is a common way for white to continue the invasion in the corner. But look at what we have, right? And it's sort of on that diagonal point to the 2-space. So it's the same thing here. we're already at the starting point. We just move from that point forward. We go, okay, how can I capitalize on the weaknesses of my opponent? Another interesting weakness that you can look at using is this one. If our opponent cuts, we get to get out for free. This is a common way to break the double Nikan Tobi shape. You can play a knight's move to one side from the armpit stone and break through. Mm-hmm. With this one, you have to check the cut the other way to make sure that it still holds, right? And this way, we can break at the same point. Right? And white is broken.
I wouldn't think to use the nose hit here.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I would have unga bunged it and hit f16. Instead of doing the knight's jump, I would have pushed up and looked for that same type of cut.
Yeah, sometimes it's working. Sometimes it works because if you can get Hane block, cut this, you can force this variation.
That's what I was thinking.
And this is very common. You know, this is another way. But I'm showing just how easy it is to exploit the shape. Mm-hmm. You have this and this. Oh, look, I'm out. White's broken, right? Like, see how many different ways I've poked a hole in the white position?
yeah, there's lots of weaknesses. Cuts, pokes.
Right? Yeah. So trying to kill the black stone, I think, is a fallacy here. That's going to be incredibly difficult with the amount of thinness that white has. So I'd say for this game already, that's probably the biggest takeaway, is just recognize the weaknesses that are left over in positions. The board is never static. There's always a way to move forward from somewhere, right? So when you've got stones that are left in ladders, constantly be checking where they go, and just be aware that anything along the ladder line is going to be impactful, right?
Yeah. That's,
and
that should be
when you're in a situation like this, just look at your shape and ask yourself, okay, if I try to go for this, how likely is it that it will succeed? Because this Hail Mary, you should only have to play if you're losing. Is white losing here? Hard. I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so.
I think it could have gone either way still, but
yeah, I think I don't think you're losing enough to the point to say Hail Mary is necessary to win this game.
Right.
Black is very happy to see this move. Okay, this I see a lot at the Q level. They're not confident to handle the local fighting, so they just try to jump and live everywhere. But this is actually a chance for white now to just strengthen the whole position. Okay, you block. This is also okay, but this is kind of letting him go through this way. And now this move is going to be harder for you, right? So I think maybe this one might have been a little much. I think you need to stop him from coming in on this side. Okay, jump. Now it's a different fight. The corner white versus the 2 black on top. I like that you're resisting and not just playing it soft. Oh, he just gave it up. What? Why? Nani?
That's the first time I heard you use that voice, Raven. That high-pitched voice. That was
I think, yeah, no. Not a good move. If black really wanted the corner, then black needed to get back to the corner. Black's trying to do too much again. Black is busy. I think here the only way you must fight. You must fight. White is going to get this, but it doesn't matter. You have your stone. If your stone is not a mistake and it's an efficient stone, then let it do its job and just get out and attack white. You don't back out at the last minute and give white perfect shape. Right, because now this is the situation, right, where black has broken his own knight's move.
Yeah.
Right, so the shape is just not good for black anymore, and now black is just locally dead. This exchange doesn't net black anything, and white just gained 20 points. So this whole invasion is a failure. But this invasion should not have failed. Now your move is a shining hero. Your move at G16 has been polished. This is also not a good move by black here. This is not a good move for a couple of reasons. Why do you think that this move might not be good?
So L7.
Yeah, blocks. You can Toby to center.
Well, I want to kind of evaluate the whole board in itself, but I mean, I don't know. It doesn't put any pressure on white, so that's already giving
Good.
white initiative.
Right. That's one answer, right? No pressure on white.
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, what is it trying to do?
It's trying to build that area, but it's kind of small right now.
Yeah. And what's the other inherent problem with it?
Maybe, and this is what I'm just learning from you on the top, is it looks maybe a little thin. It's got a large knight move. It's got
too many holes.
Yeah, large.
What if I come in with one? How do you stop me? If you capture the stone, I break you.
Yeah, I was gonna say K6 maybe. That'd be my first instinct.
You play K6, I extend, and your bottom's gone.
Yeah, that's painful.
Right? So you're giving white something to work against. In this position, it's too thin. Far too thin. To say that this is gonna be holding water for black. Like if black wanted to do it, black needed to try to maximize the shape. Black needed to try to play a little tighter, maybe like attach an Hane as a probe and then block. Right? If we can get some exchanges, something like this, then maybe we can build this way. Right? Now white ever comes in, we just capture, we force him to run, and we profit. Right? But in general, just passive jump to the center like this when you have very thin shape and your opponent's got a relatively strong group nearby, that's spelling disaster, because white can use this group to like powerful effect against the black thinness later. Okay, so you're finally bringing out the ladder. You realized, oh, this works for me now.
Yeah,
which is good.
Took me a long time.
But it's a little bit worse now because black had the chance to not be greedy and simply force you into a situation where you have to capture, and he can take the whole center, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like this, it's a little bit different because now, before when you could capture and move out the stones, black didn't have the extra support of G4 and L7. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So black is going to have an easier time, let's say he plays 5 and defends the center, building something big in the middle. So black, I think, misses an opportunity trying to be greedy and lets you go the better direction. White's very happy to see this.
I will say I felt a lot of pressure, and I felt it was a mistake to play E10. I thought maybe D11 would have been much better. Because when I play this...
I think getting out can be fine. I think normal shape would even just be here.
Yeah, that's the move I think would have been far better.
Yeah, you just do this and connect, right? And then he goes here and you turn, he extends here, and then you Hane.
Yeah, because this... Yeah, and it just allows me to move towards my own stones. But the direction I picked allows me to run into his, and so I felt really pressured here.
Yeah. While that's fair, it's also destroying his potential. Right? And so I think as long as you have a way to sort of capitalize, like if this pushes Sente, then if the push can be Sente, like this, and then let's say he extends to protect against this move, then you have moves like this, right?
Yeah, really powerful.
So he's always got the weakness behind in the position. So as long as you can make use of that, then I think he thought he could count. He thought he could catch the snake, he said. Yeah. Now he's in a position where white is heavy for sure, and black is surrounding, but now he's got a kill. Okay, this one, I think. Yeah, it's probably correct. This one. Okay, bamboo. Push? I don't know about push. This exchange is usually bad unless you can cut. Normally you want to attack the shape point. You can do it here, and this will maximize the amount of liberties you can break in the white group in the capturing race. So I would say aim for 1, don't aim for push.
This was I remember if you go back a move. Oh no, I guess I have to No. Yeah. So I remember I had an internet connection error. Yeah, so I wanted to play F3 first or F5, and then come back to play H6.
No,
But
you wanted to do it like this.
yeah, that's what I wanted to do. But the internet connection messed up, and so it
Mm.
errored submitted, and then it took my move away. So then
Oh
I was
yeah,
so mad at myself that I played the other way.
right. Yeah.
um,
So here, white's still trying to kill you, or black's still trying to kill you. But again, that's 4 knights moves and a 2-space jump and a really bad shape. Like, so this is still hard to say white will die.
mhm.
Yeah, that's fine. Black is navigating through all the weaknesses. The holes are being poked. Black's cheating. He's doing some reading. Good read, good calculation. And now white survives and black is dead. And okay, so black gets back to this move, but I think white just simplifies in the corner. And then how does black win the game? Or even maybe here, or even maybe this one. I think you just simplify into Yosei here now.
Yeah, I mean, once the big turnaround happened, it was it's pretty much over at this point.
Okay. Well, not a bad first game. And key important takeaways for you are?
But you're asking me.
Hi, Cowbunga.
Well, I am learning a bit more about the K16 and more about this cheese centric, thanks to you and Aaron. So yeah, thinking about the connections of Hangma, it's really important, and of course these are basics that we should all know, right? We learn this when we start playing Go.
Yeah.
But yeah, G16 after you showing me that was atrocious.
I mean, a lot of cases it's a good move, but I think if it's in a situation where you have one way to go after the stone that's clearly profitable, and this one is not profitable because the outside direction was not good for you because black was already strong there, right?
Yeah.
Then I think in that case G16 was just the wrong tool for the job. If this same position happened and black's rolls with white were reversed on the bottom, then I think G16 is fantastic, right? Because you're threatening to kill and you're building the middle.
Right.
It's doing two things. But to threaten to kill and then reduce the center, black only gives a crap about living. So black's not going to care about the middle reduction. Sure, reduce it. I'll make the points elsewhere. I'm reducing you by living in your area, right? So black is much more inclined to take the deal when all he has to do is go for mutually assured destruction, because then neither player gets anything, right? It's all sort of like balancing out. But if it's a situation where he has to live and you get a middle, so white gets something either way, it feels much worse for him, right?
Yeah, I could definitely see the big difference. Is there any advice you would give to EqualGods out of this? Like, what's his biggest takeaway?
I mean, it's hard because I don't understand a lot of what he played and why he played it. We don't usually consider C6 to be a strong stone by itself, so I'm not sure why you're attaching. You're giving white the immediate advantage. When we attach, the other player gets better with their next move. They improve the position, and you put yourself in bad shape here. And then a little bit further down the line, he didn't fix the biggest weakness. He saved the sacrifice stone. When we have cutting points, the inside move, like C7 here, this is not the base of the cut for black. This is. Because D4 is supporting the outside. This is the stem of the cutting group for black. You should sacrifice the inside stone. So there was a miss in that principle that he could get a lot of mileage out of the sacrifice, right? And that the direction was going to be better. And then from that point, this one was another sort of like direction of play thing, right? Where he's moving the wrong group in the wrong direction. And what he should be doing is trying to move himself back across the top side in a way that's going to be beneficial, either here or here. And then this one, maybe this is a calculation error.
Over aggressively trying to seal your opponent.
Yeah.
I see a lot of
like
double-digit players do this.
Yeah, this is leaving too many cutting points and not enough liberties. Like in general, when you play this Hane, one of these two groups needs to have 4 liberties after it's cut. If any of these groups have 3 or fewer liberties post the cut of the opponent, then you're probably not strong enough to make this Hane, unless you're planning to sacrifice it.
That's a good rule of thumb.
Yeah, because it's all about liberties in the fighting, right? So liberties in direction, where can you go? But then aside from that, like he plays a lot of contact moves, and then I'm just some of them, like this one isn't a bad one. This is a good one. But it's very different than the contact move he played at C7, right? Like this one, white was already strong. So attaching to the strong group to maximize the right side, yeah, that's an idea that I can get behind. But that idea is not the same idea. These are not the same attachment. R7 and C7. White is weak here. Black should be attacking white, not helping white get better. This is when we would use an attacking move and not a contacting move. Like this is a move you play. Contacting to an opponent's stones is a move you play when you're trying to settle your position. Why is black trying to settle stones here when black's area of influence was this? Right? Like I'm not really sure why that was played that way. But I would say take note of things like this, because this will help you improve a lot. And then when black played G16 in these instances, just look at the weaknesses in your opponent's shapes. Look at what shapes they have and where the weaknesses for each of those shapes are, and try to coordinate an effort to break those weaknesses. And that's how you can successfully break your opponent's area. Because this move didn't impact any of white's weaknesses at all.
Yeah, that's the lesson I can take away from this.
Yeah. I would say those.
All right. Awesome, Raven.